Hello, Cricuters, and welcome to Cricketing with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. In today's tutorial, I am so excited to share this with you because I've had these thoughts about doing a project like this for a few days, and even though today is the last day of Black History Month, this is not a project that is limited to 1 month. I chose 10 iconic African American women to honor in this project, and so I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like. Now, because I've been doing this for a few days and thinking about it and playing with it in Cricut design space, I did get a chance to make a few materials, but this is what the finished product looks like. And what am I going to say? I love it. I absolutely love the way this turned out. So hopefully you can see it very well and know that this was done with a lot of love and a lot of honor for the women who are represented here. Now, let me tell you what we're going to do. When I finish with this intro, we're going to look at the materials. After materials, I want to show you how to find images that are in the public domain and are allowable for use in a project like this. After that, we will move over to Cricut Design Space, and then after that, I will show you how I got my design finally pressed. I thought that I would be using an offset like this, but it didn't work out well. So this is the first time I did it. This is what it looked like. I just put it on a bag, and I don't know if you can see this, but you know, there are definitely some errors along the way. The second time I did it, I put the design on this shirt, and there are some errors here too. And not that it has to be perfect, but I did want it to look as close to perfect as I could get it. I do feel like the finished product, the one that I did last, is the one that's as close to perfect as it can be. And I'm interested to see who you will use when you make a project just like this. I chose these 10 women. Who will you choose? Leave a comment and let me know down below. Without further ado, let's get started. The materials that I'll be using for this project include, I'll be using the StarCraft for Dark Materials photo transfer paper. And you'll know it's the one for dark materials because on the back of their products, it says StarCraft for Dark Materials. I'll use a black 100% cotton Gildan shirt. I'm using 2 green Cricut standard grip mats. I'll be connected to my Cricut Maker. I'll use my Cricut 9x9 Easy Press. I'll have it set to 350 degrees for 30 seconds. And I'm actually using HTV Ront brand of heat transfer vinyl. Some of the ladies in my Facebook group told me about this, and I just said I would give it a try. So I am using piece from the white roll. This came with 6 rolls, and I will definitely give you my honest opinion if you ask me for it regarding this vinyl. So and then the printer that I'm using is my Canon MX470. It is not a sublimation printer. It's a regular desk jet printer. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is show you how to find an image that you won't have any copyright issues with. So let's just say, for example, I want to find a photo of Coretta Scott King. Coretta Scott King, as most of you probably know, she wasn't just the wife of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She was also a leader in the civil rights movement. Okay, so when I'm looking through these pictures, you know, I see a lot of them that I really like and I wish I could just use and not have to worry about any copyright infringement. But I wanted to be responsible in my search, and I want you to be responsible in your search. So what I did after I typed in her name, I clicked on images to filter the search. I went to tools, and then I went over here on my computer. There's an option that says usage rights. I'm going to click on the one that says Creative Commons licenses. And then that brings my search down even more, because then I can still look through and see if there are any that I like, you know, that have like a good picture of her face. And I found this one and I liked it because I knew I wasn't going to use a picture of Dr. King. So what I did was I clicked on this option right here where it says license details. Okay, and it says no copyright. The person who associated the work with this deed has dedicated the work to the public domain. So that means I can use this image on my shirt and I can use it in my video and I won't have any issues. And if I do, I can share where I found this work, where this license from. Okay, so that's one example. Another example I might show you is, let's say I wanted to show you how I found the image of Ruby Bridges. Okay, Ruby Bridges, at the tender age of 6 years old, she was the first African-American little girl to integrate a school in the South. So I followed the same process. I typed in her name. I filtered my search for images. I clicked on, now, of course, I like a lot of these pictures. I wish I could have used this picture, but I didn't want to have a copyright claim. So I went to Tools. I went to usage rights, I went to Creative Commons licenses, and I ended up using this picture right here. When I click on the picture, it says it comes from Wikimedia Commons, and I click on license details. It says that you are free to share, adapt. The licensor cannot revoke these freedoms as long as you follow the license terms, okay? So it says that I have to give attribution or share where I found the image. Okay, so this is the image that I used. I right clicked on it and I saved it, and I'll just show you. I'm just going to click, I'll go to desktop, I'll go to my stuff, notable women, and I'll just type in Ruby Bridges. I already have it saved here, but I'll call it free to, and I'll save it. And now I have that image saved. Okay. Now that I've shown you how I've gotten my images, because I have all 10 of my images already uploaded into Cricut Design Space, what we'll do now is go over to Cricut Design Space and I'll show you my process for moving the photos into the letters. I am in Cricut Design Space and I am connected to my Cricut Maker. You can also do this project from a Cricut Explorer Air 2. The first thing I'll do is go to text and I'm going to turn on my caps lock. Okay. And the text that I am going to use is, I'm going to type black. I'm going to hit the enter key. I'm going to use the ampersand symbol, enter key, and proud. Okay. Once I have that in, I will go to alignment and I will center it. Okay. The next thing that I'll do after I have the word typed, I will go to the font at the top, and I'm going to look for one that's called Space Story. I downloaded this font from Creative Fabrica. I will leave a link to it down below. I chose this font because it is big and bold, and I'll know it will help me in, getting the images in, and you'll be able to see the faces very well. Okay, I'm bringing the view down on my screen right now. The view is at 50%. After I bring the view down, I'm also going to decrease the line space in between black and proud because I don't want all of this extra space. Okay, so I'm bringing my view, my line space down. Hopefully you can see what's going on. I'm just bringing it all the way down. I think I'm going to bring it down to, I think I brought it down to -12. But what I wanted was for the ampersand symbol to touch the A and the O. So I just kept bringing it down until it was touching the A and the O. Okay, so right now it's touching the O. Now it's touching the A also. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit more, not too much. Let me go back because I don't want to be smushed. Okay, 12.7. I brought the line space down to 12.7. Okay, so now I have that. The next thing I'm going to do is unlock this right here, and I'm going to resize all of this to 9.25 by 6.75. The reason why I'm doing that is because that is the largest amount of space that Cricut Design Space allows for print then cut. Okay, so now that I have it and my spacing is at 9.25 by 6.75, I am going to go ahead and duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate it one time. I'm going to click duplicate one time. Okay, now I have it over here. I'm just going to move my duplicate over here to the right. The next thing I'm going to do with the first image selected is I am going to click on the button for offset. Offset is currently not available on iPads. Okay, so if you're going to do a project like this, I would suggest you get access to either a laptop, not a Chromebook, a laptop or a desktop. Okay, what I did here is I brought my offset down to 0.139. Okay, and so you can see I have the offset spaces right here in the middle, and I really like the way it looks. So my offset is at 0.139. I clicked apply. Okay, so now I have what looks like a black offset around my Black and Proud. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is select the whole thing. I have this whole thing selected and I am going to slice it. Okay, when I do that, I have this piece, which I don't need anymore. So it's just my top layer. I'm going to delete that. And I also have this piece, which looks like an outline now. This is going to be my offset. My offset, I'm going to have this. It's actually going to be white. Okay, my offset is going to be white. And what I'm going to do with this, so this should fit in there perfectly, and it does. What I'm going to do with this is just, let me move it up here for right now, and I'll move this down. Okay, so I have this now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one. This was my duplicate. I am going to go ahead and ungroup this. Okay, and ungrouping it just gives me all of my, let me move this over so you can see, this gives me all of my letters individually. Okay, and that's exactly what I want. I want to be able to move these letters, one at a time as much as I want to. Okay, that's what ungrouping does. Okay, so now that I have that, what I suggest you do is to go ahead and save this. So I'm going to click save, and I'm going to call this Black and Proud what? In progress. Okay, click save. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I am going to start to insert the pictures. I'm going to follow that same process that I did when I made the love tile with my name, my face and Peter's face on it when I did the pictures for Valentine's Day. It's also the same process I follow with the Milo tile. I'm just going to go and find those images that I like for those 10 African American women. I'm going to insert them into each one of these letters. The reason why I still have this is because I'm going to, once I have these changed to pictures, I'm going to put these on top, and this will help me get my pictures lined up exactly where they should go. Okay, so hopefully you're following and you can see what and why I'm doing each thing that I'm doing. All right, so the first picture that I will upload, remember my pictures are already downloaded. I have all of the images that I'm going to use. The first picture that I'm going to use for the letter B is Mary McLeod Bethune. Okay, and her picture is right here. I'm going to click on add to canvas. When it comes in, the first thing you have to do is go to arrange and send to back. The reason why I want to send this picture to the back is because I want to see how to put the letter on top and make sure that what I'm getting is a good image. Okay, so remember, I'm not resizing the letters. Do not resize the letters. Only resize the image as you need to. Okay, I'm going to click over the image and the letter, and I'm going to slice it. I will do 3 letters in this pace, and the rest of them I'll speed it up. Okay, so this is my first letter, Mary McLeod Bethune. Why is she important? Okay, she was an educator, she was a humanitarian, and she was also a civil rights activist. And the school, Bethune-Cookman University in Florida, is her namesake. Okay, that school was named for her. That is her legacy. Okay, so now I have her letter. I am going to put it on top of this B right here. Okay, let me move it over, just get it on top as good as I can. All right, and then I can take this B and just hide it, and I can delete this. All right, so the next letter is Rosa, is the L, and for the L I use Rosa Parks. Okay, so this is Rosa Parks on the bus. And remember, I'm not resizing the letter. I'm going to take the picture, I'm going to arrange it, send it to the back, make the picture a little bit bigger, but remember, do not resize the letter. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take that and I'm going to select both and slice it. Okay, why is Rosa Parks important? She was known as the mother, affectionately known as the mother of civil rights, because she refused to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Okay, so now I'm going to take the L and just move it down. The beauty of doing a project like this is that you can find the pictures and the words that really speak to you, and you can make a project any way you want to make it. Okay, so that's why I like doing these projects like this and not necessarily using an SVG. I'm not limited in what I can do. All right, so the next letter I did for my A was Ruby Bridges. I've already told you why she was important. I showed you how I got this picture. Okay, the picture comes in big. I'm going to go to arrange. I'm going to send it to the back, and then I'm going to resize the picture, right? I'm going to bring that picture down so that I can start to play with it. Okay, I use the A for Ruby Bridges. Okay, I have the A on top. I'm going to slice it. Okay, and I'm just move the A right here on top. Look at how cute. Can't imagine being Ruby Bridges at the age of 6 and the turmoil she must have experienced. Okay, I'm going to hide the A. I'm going to delete this. All right, the next letter I used was C. C for what? Coretta Scott King. Okay, so let me go and find the picture that I have. This is the one that I showed you. All right, I'm going to bring the picture in. I'm going to arrange it, send it to the back, make it a little bit bigger, put the C on top. Okay, remember the goal is to get as much of her face as possible. I'm not including Dr. King, even though he was very, very important. But this is all about the women. Okay, so I'm going to move the C down, and there I go. Okay, I'm going to hide this C. I'm going to get the K. For K, I use Shirley Chisholm. If you're unfamiliar with who Shirley Chisholm is, this is her right here. Shirley Chisholm was the first African-American woman in Congress, and she was also the first African-American woman to seek a nomination for the President of the United States. Well, we know by now, of course, that she did not win, but wow, she was a pioneer in her day. Okay, so I'm going to take it, I'm going to arrange it, send it to the back, put the K on top, resize the picture, not the letter. Okay, and that's what I have for Shirley Chisholm. I'm going to slice it. Okay, and put this right here on top. Hide the K, delete this. All right, now I'm going to just put this on top. I didn't do anything special with this, and I could have, because I really could have used 11. All right, so now the next thing I did for the letter P, I used the photo of Barbara Jordan. This is Barbara Jordan right here. The reason why I chose Barbara Jordan, the first reason, was because she graduated from my alma mater, which is Texas Southern University. She was born in Houston. She graduated from Texas Southern University. She was the first African-American senator since 1883. She was also the first Black woman ever elected to the chamber and the first Black woman elected to Congress in the Deep South. Okay, I'm going to take her picture. I'm going to arrange it, send it to the back, and I'm going to resize the picture. Okay, I'm going to keep going down, down, down. Take the P, put it on top. Hers was a little bit tricky because, the letter P is kind of hard to fit everything into. I just kind of did the best I could with that. Slicing it out, deleting this, hide the P, And the reason why I don't delete the letters is because I can use them again if I were to do a project like this again. Let's just say I wanted to use African American men instead of African American women. I could do the same project again. For R, I used Katherine Johnson. If you're unfamiliar with her, I would say that she became most notable after the movie Hidden Figures came out. Let me arrange it and send it to the back. Okay, Katherine Johnson was one of the first African American women to work at NASA as a scientist. And like I said, she became she gained a lot of notoriety after the movie Hidden Figures was released. Okay, I am going to slice it and delete this, move the R and hide it, and put this picture right on top. For the O, I used Dorothy Height. If you're unfamiliar with Dorothy Height, she was also a leader in the civil rights movement. Let me find her picture. Here she is right here. Isn't she beautiful? Yes, she is. Okay. She was also a leader in the civil rights movement. She served as the president of the National Council of Negro Women. She not only addressed the rights of women, but all African Americans. Okay, so I'm gonna take the O, and I did also have a problem with this one because it's kind of hard to fit someone's face well in the O. Okay, let me see if I made it bigger or smaller. Okay, I think I just kind of made it bigger. Kind of cut her eye off a little bit. All right, I'm gonna slice it, delete this, hide the O. Her face is cut a little bit, but you can still see who she is. Okay, and then for the U, I use the ever so eloquent Maya Angelou. She is one of the reasons her poetry and her poem regarding butterflies. It's one of the reasons why I love butterflies the way that I do. Let me cancel that. I already have that image. Let me go and find it. Let me click view all. I have a younger picture of Maya Angelou. It's this one right here. Okay, I'm gonna bring it in. Look at how beautiful she is right there. Okay. I'm going to send the image to the back, put the U on the top, make it a little bit smaller, and slice it. Love. I love that. Okay. All right, I'm going to delete this, hide the U, and the last letter D, I use Madam C.J. Walker. And I didn't find a really good picture of her, but I wanted to, stay in the safe zone and not violate any copyright infringement laws. And so what I did was, let me go ahead and send this to the back, put the D on the front. In case you're unfamiliar with Madam C.J. Walker, Madam C.J. Walker is the first female African-American millionaire. And it was all thanks to her homemade hair care products. Okay. All right. I'm going to take that, slice it, delete this, move the D, hide it, and move this D over. And I love the way this came out. Okay. Moving this over. Leave a comment below and let me know if you're going to do a project like this and who is someone you would add to your project that I didn't add to mine. Okay, let me know. Who is someone you're like, oh, Delonda, what about, because even my husband said, what about Harriet Tubman? I'm like, I didn't want to use Harriet Tubman. There are so many choices. Wanted to use some of the less spoken of. All right, so now I have it exactly how I want it. I'm going to select the whole thing right here and I'm going to flatten it. Now remember, my offset right here is going to be white. So what I'm going to do here is put a very, very thin offset right here. And I am going to offset it. And the offset that's here won't impact the offset that's over here, because remember, it's all going to be white. I'm gonna bring it down like low, like super, super close. See how close that is? I really, really like it. Okay. I think I even brought it into, 80. Let me see. Yes. Okay. So my offset is right at 0.080. I'm going to click apply, and I'm going to change that offset to white. Okay. And then I'm going to take the whole thing again, and I'm going to flatten it. And then I'm going to make sure that this is sized at, remember, I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to size it back to 9.25 by 6.75. Okay. And that's it. So now I should have two mats, one that is going to be a print then cut, and one that I'm going to use heat transfer vinyl. Okay. So now I'm going to click make it. Okay. So now I have this, and I am going to send this to my printer for print then cut. And then for this part, I am going to move it down, and this is going to be white heat transfer vinyl. Since this is heat transfer vinyl, I will need to mirror my design. Okay, so I want to get this printed first. I'm going to click continue, and I'm going to send this to my printer. I keep the add bleed option on. Even though this doesn't match what was on my screen, I know it's going to be right. I'm going to click use system dialog. I'm going to click print. I'm waiting for my printer. I'm using my Canon MX470, my preferences. I keep it on standard right here. For media type, I'm using other papers, other photo paper, print quality high. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to click print. And while I'm going to click start printing, while that's printing, I'm going to get the vinyl loaded on my mat, and I'm going to choose for this, I'm going to choose my mirrors on. I'm going to choose everyday iron on. I'll be letting that cut out while that picture is printing, and everything that I'll do from here will be back on the camera. I have my image printed from my printer, and I'm put it on a strong grip mat because I'm going to change my cut setting to card stock for intricate cuts. Even though this is photo transfer paper, I like to use the card stock for intricate cut setting. That's my heat press let me know that it's ready. I like to use that cut setting because it'll go around each of my letters twice, and that way I will ensure that I can get a good clean pickup when I start to pick the letters up. And it'll cut around each image twice. And while that's doing that, I will be getting this weeded out. I'm going to go ahead and remove this from the Cricut Maker, and I can tell that it is cut out very well. See those cut lines? Okay. While I'll put that to the side, and I'll finish getting this weeded out, and I will speed this part up. Okay, I have decided that I'm not going to use the offset because I just could not get it lined up. So the intention was to use it. I'm not going to be able to use it, and I'm okay with that. I am going to take a piece of parchment paper, just regular parchment paper, and I am going to press this on 350 degrees for 30 seconds. I'm going to give it medium pressure. One, Now I'm going to lift it and then move it over to press the other side, still giving it medium pressure. Dark transfers require a cold peel, so I'm going to let this cool and I will peel it after 45 seconds. All right, I waited for 45 seconds and I let this completely cool down. I am going to peel it back and reveal the design. And what am I going to say? I love it. 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 This was definitely a labor of love, and not heavy on the labor, but heavy on the love. Okay, let me give you my final thought. Okay, so as I said, this is the finished product and I love it. Hopefully you do too. Don't forget to leave a comment to let me know who you're going to use in your design like this. Now, remember, when you're making your design, you can make yours say whatever you want to say, and that's the beauty of doing a project like this. I am very excited with the way this came out. I don't know if you saw, but a few weeks ago, I crafted with Marvin from 143 Vinyl, and we used the dark transfer paper. So when he sent me some of the dark transfer paper from the StarCraft Make It kit, I just jumped right on it and got started with this project. So hopefully, you learned something. If you did find this tutorial helpful, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications, because I do upload new content every single week without fail. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye.